You are listening to the Centaku Media podcast, a source for sharing interests beyond the scope of anime because we're in the center of other otaku interests. Hey everyone, this is Sanjo-chan, your host of the Centaku Media podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and I know it's been a weird year, at least for me so far, and I know, if 2020 wasn't weird, I think 2021's been a little weirder, but I guess productive in certain aspects. But I just wanted to really try to kick things off again by saying, hey, it's been a while. But anyway, thank you for being patient as I get through the lull of episodes of the podcast. I haven't forgotten about you all or the podcast. It's just that I've had some projects that I was working on, and I had to suddenly drop this, that wasn't my intention, or rather, such devastation. This was not my intention for those geeky with Final Fantasy XIV. But anyway, so yes, we're gonna continue where we left off with the podcast. I know it's been way too long, and I originally had this episode planned for late February, but that fell through the cracks. And I intended to, even though I was a couple of weeks late working on it, I was still going to put it out. But even though it's probably, 4 months later from when I was supposed to release this episode, we're going to basically pick up from where we left off. So let's consider this the hot spring episode, where we just basically... or rather, what I would call it, the Hot Spring Time Machine. I don't know, it's just some silly title that came to my mind when I was recording this and going over my show notes. So yeah, it's the Hot Spring Time Machine, or Hot Time Machine, I guess, like that silly movie. But anyway, so yeah, so we're going to talk about news stories from when the episode should have been released. But I'm pretty sure this is probably a good opportunity to go back and see what news stories were out at the beginning of the year. Compared to where we are now, and since things are getting back to normal, it's kind of like a reminder, oh, this happened then, so that way we can basically go back and revisit those stories, especially for those that are late to the party, such as myself. So I hope that helps in that regard. But anyway, so yeah, for those that are new to the podcast, thank you for listening. Centaku Media is a website I've started almost... Oh gosh, how long's it been? 14 years ago almost. It started in 2007, and it's a blog where I talk about my viewpoints and opinions of the anime industry, and some reviews in between. But it's changed over the years. It used to be called Centaku Media, but now I call it Centaku Media when I relaunched in 2015. And I've added some stuff along the way, including this podcast, but I also stream on Twitch. So if you're listening to this, be sure to follow Centaku Media on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Centaku Media. And just be sure, when you follow notifications, be sure to make sure they're on, so that way you can tune in when I go live. At times, the schedule varies based on when you're listening to this, but I will say that the last week of the month are my break period. So that way I can focus on other content and also myself. So, yes. So be sure to check out everything related to Centaku Media. And also be sure to check out the socials. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And also the shortcut, if you're listening to a mobile, is centakumedia.com/networks. That'll take you to content highlights, and the links to the social media networks. But anyway, so I've been under some projects lately that's been pulling me away from working on more content for Centaku Media. And in a time since everything has been, completed, and I can't quite go into detail right now because I'm still trying to process everything going on, but I think this is the opportunity. Well, when I say reevaluate, I actually mean reevaluate, because I'm figuring out what works for me and what doesn't. So, whatever doesn't work for me is kind of the factor of me getting back into working on a podcast and improving the quality of my stream, and also writing more content as I need to put out for Centaku Media. So, that's why there's been a lull in new episodes. But no, the podcast is not dead. I try to promote when I can, and now is the time to promote. So, if you're listening to this episode from Twitter, be sure to like and retweet and tell your friends about Centaku Media. Just give us a try. I'm also working on some additional content, which is something I've been working on ever since the end of last year and early this year. And I do have a pilot episode of a segment I'm working on that I think I call it the Ikari Stream, which is basically a series where I talk about, or rather rant and reveal some things that have been bothering me about the industry, which I know that's where the blog is for, but apparently over the years it's better for me to put them verbally than it is to write about them. I know there's probably easier ways I can write about them nowadays since we have the technology, we have the power. But yeah, I think it'd be easy if I do it in a podcast format. So be sure to look for that. I haven't decided when I'm going to release this yet. I had an idea, but hopefully it'll be soon. So stay tuned for that. Also, I might do like a podcast pre-release on Twitch. So yes, it's basically, it's still up in the air, but just one of the reasons why you should follow me on Twitch. So again, it's twitch.tv/Centaku Media. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this short. It's like 6 minutes into talking about where I've been, and like I said, we're gonna pick up from where we left off. So if everything you know about, if everything I talk about is what you know about already, I apologize. But I just hope you listen anyway, just listen to my voice, because I know it's been a little bit too long. But also, if you haven't heard of any of this news, then there you go. So I will see you soon, and of course, every episode, since we're sponsored, well, not really sponsored, but I have sponsors that I need to give them time to talk about them. We're gonna talk about them, and then I will see you right after those messages. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope I haven't kept you waiting for too long, but we are finally going to talk about what has been eating me for the past few months. Although not just me in particular, but I'm sure that if you're far behind anyway with a lot of news that happened earlier in the year, this would be a great opportunity to catch up on them. But no, like seriously, there is actually one story I do want to talk about, and I will warn you that I guess it's a bit of a trigger warning, so you might want to skip this probably, I don't know when, but I'm going to try to at least keep this under a minute long. So I guess it's a trigger warning concerning death, but I'm pretty sure if you were really into anime, especially if you were a fan of a certain anime series, you probably know about this already, but it's still really sad to talk about. So at the beginning, at the end of last year, right when I went to hiatus, and at the beginning of this year, which is one of the next stories I'm about to talk about. So for those who are fans of the anime series Inuyasha, especially the English dub of Inuyasha, the voice actor behind Miroku, Kirby suddenly passed away, and that really shocked me, and it shocked everyone. Of course, it's fair to say it shocked everyone. And as far as I know, we don't know exactly what happened. Although I will say that reading the article on Anime News Network, and I think if I don't link to, I think it's might be in the first episode of the second season of the podcast, if I'm not mistaken. I think I talked about it briefly in one of the in memoriam articles that Anime News Network posted. People said that they noticed something was off with his performance of Miroku in the Yashahime anime, because for those out of the loop, Yashahime has an English dub, and they brought back most of the original voice actors from Inuyasha, and which was kind of interesting because Inuyasha was a Ocean Group project, which is a dubbing studio based in Vancouver, Canada, and they have this weird thing where basically they're a Canadian union dub, but if you want like your favorite US dub voice actor, let's say, I don't know, Chris Sabat, if you want him to do a Dragon Ball dub with the cast of the Ocean Group Dragon Ball dub, it's not happening because they got their citizenship and all that stuff. Anyway, but I'm guessing because this is a fan project, not really a fan project, scratch that. I guess because of how big Inuyasha was, they managed to bring back most of the cast. Like you got David Kaye, who's the voice of Shomaru, and pretty much everyone almost everyone you recognize except for one. I think the voice actors for Kikyo retired. But anyway, Kirby Morrow was one of them, but his performance was a little rough. So, that's when people were like, "What's going on? I hope he's okay." Because I know it apparently had been a while since he's apparently done some voice work. Because I think I noticed he's done like a lot of Stargate. Yes, what besides anime dubbing is what he's known for. That's apparently the Stargate fandom too is in mourning. They were in mourning of him too. But no, like, yes, there was something off. So it's possible. Like, I probably shouldn't speculate on what happened, but that's your own conclusion to follow up on. But considering how November was really how rough it is, and considering the pandemic, it's possible that could have been an issue. But like I said, we'll never know, or rather, it's just more probably me refusing to find out about it out of respect. And then, of course, myself, I'm just distressed that it even happened. So, but one of the news stories I was going to talk about for the episode that was supposed to be released, around the end of February, was that Miroku was recast with James Corlett for the Yashahime dub, and he was actually a close colleague of Kirby, and I think he's also done dubs for the Ocean Group Dragon Ball Z dubs. So that's how pretty much they got to know each other. And also, for those that don't know, there's a little trivia: Kirby Morrow was also the voice of Goku at one point. I think well, besides Sean Schemmel, Goku has had two other English dub actors, and one of them was a comedian, Canadian comedian. I forget his name, but Kirby Morrow, I think, was the one that took over after. I think what it was. So what it was, I think it's the comedian. I can't think of his name. Comedian, and then of course after the Funimation picked it up for in-house dubbing, we have Sean Schemmel pretty much throughout, and then they continued dubbing Dragon Ball Z outside of Canada, and Kirby Morrow, I think, was one of them. So I think that's how it happened. But yeah, so he is cast by James Moroku's cast. His voice is cast under James Corlett now. So yeah, so that's what I kind of wanted to talk about before I move on to anything else. So get that out of the way. But so yes, I was a big fan of the character that he voices as Troa Barton in Gundam Wing. So that's kind of like, it's a part of my childhood was basically got a slap in the face when I heard about that. So if you are listening to this, be sure to find any of his works, like Inuyasha. I wasn't a big fan of Inuyasha. Like, I watched enough episodes to remember his performance, but like, it was just the whole show itself didn't click with me. But Gundam Wing, definitely I recommend checking out because I'm biased, but I think that was one of my favorite roles of his in Gundam Wing as Troa. But yeah, so condolences to his family and friends, and like I said, all we can do is celebrate his life by watching what he was in, whether it's by voice acting or live action. But anyway, just to move on to lighter news. So Demon Slayer is apparently getting an anime this year, a new TV anime this year, and of course, right now people are talking about the Demon Slayer movie, coming out finally in the U.S. And the article pointed out here that the Kimetsu Sai Online second anniversary festival special had announced that Koyoharu Gotoge, Demon Slayer manga, is getting a new television anime called Yukakuhin, which is the entertainment district arc rather this year. Haru Sotosaki is returning to direct the second season at Ufotable, and Akira Matsushima is again designing the characters. The cast from the first television anime season is returning, including Kazuyuki Konishi as Tengen Usui, which is pictured in the visual in the article. Gotoge launched the Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba manga into Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump magazine in February 2016, and the manga ended last May of 2020. And of course, the publishers they got released the last the 23rd and final book in December. So of course now the manga's done. It's basically in the I don't know what you call it, the top 5 of Shonen Jump. You got Naruto, you got One Piece. Let's see what else. One Piece, Naruto. You know what I'm talking about. Basically, like with K-pop, you got the big 4 companies. We used to be big 3, but now it's big 4, maybe going on 5. But no, in anime, we got the big like a 3 or 4. I know Bleach used to be one of them, but Bleach is not relevant anymore. So I guess it would be Demon Slayer. So Demon Slayer, Naruto, One Piece, Dragon Ball to an extent, cause it'll never die apparently. And then you got oh gosh, what else? It just yeah, I'm kind of out of the loop as you can tell, but yeah, I guess Demon Slayer's up there. So yeah, so if you're interested in watching Demon Slayer, which I really need to watch because my friend's like all about it right now, even though she actually was kind of on the fence about it, you can watch Demon Slayer on Hulu, Crunchyroll, and Funimation's streaming service. And it's also on Adult Swim's Toonami Block, which premiered in 2019. So be sure to check it out if you're interested, if you're looking for a new anime to watch. Alright, so moving on. So this one I'm actually very excited about, and well, by the time you listen to this, it may not be released due to the ongoing pandemic, but there were 8 new cast members announced for Gundam's Hathaway's Flash movie, or they just call it Hathaway, really, but I call it Hathaway's Flash because that's where the novel was based on. But the Gundam.info portal announced the cast members of the film, which includes, well, by cast they mean the cast of characters, but also the corresponding voice actors. So we got Kenjiro Suda as Gam Noble, who is a veteran pilot of numerous battles and a MAFTI member. Yui Ishikawa plays Emeralda Subin, a MAFTI member with a big sister personality who is dispatched to Defile to pick up Hathaway. Fukushi Ochiai as Raymond Kane, the captain of the One Glaciation, I think, if I pronounced that correctly, and a MAFTI member. Shunsuke Takeuchi as Irumasum, a MAFTI member who serves as first officer on MAFTI's covert support ship Valiant. Misato Masuoka as Maheshir Hintz, a MAFTI agent and operator. Chiharu Sawashiro as Kenji Misuda, a MAFTI field agent. Asumi Tanesaki as Mace Flower, a beautiful flight attendant on Hounsen of Flight 356. And also we got Koichi Yamadera as Hunley Ilksum, the leader of the criminal police organization. The veteran voice actor noted that he played Gunye Gus and Char's Counterattack just 3 years after making his professional debut. He recalled going out drinking with Char's voice actor Shuichi Ikeda after the first day of voice recording when he received a crash course on Gundam's world philosophy. Oh yeah, it's a huge endeavor. So if you're planning on watching Gundam Hathaway, be prepared for a huge, like if you're watching it for the first time and haven't watched the original Gundam series, you're in for a surprise. Anyway, so for those that are curious, the previous the main cast announced was Kensho Ono as Hathaway Noah, and Reina Ueda as Gigi Andalusia, Junichi Suwabe as Kenneth Slegg, and Soma Saito as Lane Aim. Yes, Lane Aim as in LANELAIM. So yeah, so that all these Gundam names are so crazy. Seriously. Also, I will point out for those that are familiar with Gundam, so Hathaway Noah is actually the son of Bright Noah, who is the king of Bright Slap. So if you're familiar with that meme but not familiar with Gundam, that's where Bright is from. So that's his son. So yeah, just pointing that out there. But The film is was an the article at the time of publishing said that the film will play in 214 theaters, which is a record high for the franchise, and will open in Japan. You know, just insert your own date by the time you listen to this episode. Of course, it was delayed last year, but hopefully we get it a lot sooner. So fingers crossed. And some theaters will screen the film in 4D and Dolby Cinema on opening day. So looking forward to that. Just a Gundam fan, and also Hathaway's Flash in particular. I've been looking forward to it for years. So be sure to check it out as soon as you can, and support your local Gundam fandom circle or whatever. Anyway, so moving on to gaming news. We don't really quite have. I think that was all the anime news I talked about. That was all three. Yeah, that was all three. So we're gonna move on to gaming news. So for gaming news, so this is weird, and I'm pretty sure the next episode I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. For those that are out of the loop. So in the previous episode, I talked about the voice actor for Sonic the Hedgehog, that he will not be returning to voice Sonic in upcoming projects. However, other voice actors that are involved, the English dub voice actors for Sonic, are also not coming back except for Eggman. So, voice actor Mike Pollock confirmed on Twitter that he will continue to voice Dr. Eggman in Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Pollock first voiced Dr. Eggman in the English dub of Sonic X anime in 2003. His first appearance as a character in the game was in Shadow the Hedgehog in 2005. He provided Dr. Eggman's voice in numerous games, including Sonic Rush, Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Generations, Sonic Lost World, and Sonic Forces. He also voiced the character in the Sonic Boom animated series. And his Sonic's voice actor, which is the problem issue, or the story in question rather, which like I said I'm going to follow up on in the next episode. Roger Craig Smith, who also plays Code Geass's Gilbert GP Goldford, and also he was in Cabaneri of the Iron Fortresses as Biba, recently confirmed that he had departed from his role. The official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account also confirmed that he will no longer play the role of Sonic of the franchise. Colleen O'Shaughnessy recently wrote on Twitter that she will not be playing Tails in the upcoming Sonic Prime series. Also, Cindy Robinson, who voices Amy, also wrote that she is departing from her role. And Sonic Prime, for those that are out of the loop, especially me, it's a 3D animated series that's slated to premiere worldwide on Netflix in 2022. Wild Brain Ltd's Vancouver studio will animate 24 episodes. The staff of Man of Action Entertainment, which was responsible for Ben 10 and Big Hero 6, will serve as showrunners and executive producers, and Sega and Wild Brain will handle production, distributing, and licensing. So, yes, I will have more on the whole Roger Craig Smith situation, because things have changed quite a bit for those that are out of the loop. But again, be sure to tune in like 2 weeks from whenever this episode releases, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. Alright, so for more gaming news, there was a cute ad, anime style ad for Final Fantasy XIV that was uploaded to the Korean Final Fantasy XIV YouTube channel. So the ad it's about, I guess, maybe a minute and a half long, maybe 2 minutes, I don't remember, but I will link it in the show notes that you can find on centakumedia.com, which will be linked to in the show notes, whatever platform you're listening to. It's in Korean, and the quality of it is amazing. It's like it could be like a Final Fantasy XIV anime, but it was done in Korea, so they opted for the animated route instead of, I'm pretty sure that by the time you hear this, we'll probably have something kind of similar, but maybe more creative, depending on how you see it. But I'll talk about that in the next episode. But this one depicts a Makote character exploring the game's various features through ways of Limsa Lominsa, which is one of the main city states in the game. So basically, to describe it, the Makote wakes up and he pulls out his phone, which I think they call tombstones in the Final Fantasy XIV universe, and I'm guessing he's like his friends are messaging him, say, hey, do you want to play? And basically you see everything that's happening, like people fishing, people fighting, and all that stuff, fighting monsters and stuff. So yeah, basically it's Final Fantasy XIV in a nutshell, but they went the creative route and did a short anime style opening. So again, that will be in the show notes, so be sure to check it out. And also we got quite a bit to talk about with Final Fantasy XIV in the coming weeks. So be sure to keep an eye out on that. But if not, I think I did talk about it in the previous episode, which is a new expansion pack called Endwalker. So that is what I'm looking forward to. But again, we'll talk a bit more about it in future episodes. There's also PlayStation 5 out at some point. Maybe out already, officially. Not in beta anymore by the time you listen to this. So yeah, be sure to check that out if you're interested. And also, as a fan, and to fulfill the meme, is that if you're in, again, I'm not sponsored by Square Enix or Final Fantasy XIV in any shape and form. If you're interested in playing Final Fantasy XIV, you can play it for free, play the free trial up to level 60, and you can also play through Heavensward. So if you're interested in checking it out, that's your gateway to actually playing it before you pay for a sub. So just pointing that out there. Hope you enjoy it. And moving on from Final Fantasy XIV, we're also going to talk about Kingdom Hearts. So by the time you listen to this, you can finally play Kingdom Hearts on a PC. All the games that have been released so far. And on March 30th was the release date. So for the PC version, it was released on the Epic Games Store. So I know people have a preference. I know some people prefer Steam, some people prefer Epic, but apparently this is, as far as I know right now, this is like the only platform you can get it now, but I'll follow up in a future episode on whether it's on other platforms. So people who buy the game on Epic Games Store, you can get, basically it's 5 Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 remix, which includes, here we go, Final Mix, Rechain of Memories, 358/2 days, or 358 by 2 days, I don't know. It's the HD remastered cinematics version 2. Get Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, Birth by Sleep Final Mix, recoded with remastered HD cinematics, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue, which includes 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage, Kingdom Hearts X back cover, which is a movie, and Dream Drop Distance HD. And of course, for those that are out of the loop, including myself, Kingdom Hearts 3 was released in January 2019 in Japan and in the West for PS4 and Xbox One, and it has shipped more than 5 million copies worldwide, including digital sales as of February 19. And it's the fastest selling title in the franchise's history. So yes, I am out of the loop of Kingdom Hearts, and I did pick up, I think, Final Mix, or whatever, the one that has all the side stories on for PS4. So I need to get in that at some point. It might be a stream title or just a Let's Play title off stream, and I'm going to put it on YouTube, but we'll see. But yes, I am definitely behind on it. And also, this Melody of Memory, which is a rhythm game in the Kingdom Hearts franchise that was released last November. So that's also another game to check out for those that are interested. Anyway, moving on to entertainment and interest news. So I only have one news to talk about, so this would be a short and sweet episode, since considering how I'm behind on some things, and a lot of these don't even apply anymore for what I was going to talk about. So this one concerns the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 sequel. So Paramount Pictures revealed that the logo of the sequel to the Sonic the Hedgehog film. So the film's title is called Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and the logo features two tails shaped after the franchise's fox tails hanging off an orange number 2. And right now, the film is scheduled to be released on April 8th, 2022. And the studio announced last May that it's producing the sequel to this past year's Sonic the Hedgehog film, with Jeff Fowler returning as director and Pat Casey and Josh Miller returning as scriptwriters. Neil H. Moritz, Toby Asher, and Toru Nakahara are credited as producers of the new film, while Hajime Satomi, Haruki Satomi, and Tim Miller are credited as executive producers. The original film earned $70 million, a little over $70 million. I can't count big numbers for some reason. I don't know why. It earned a little over $70 million to rank number one in its President's Day holiday opening weekend in February 2020 in the U.S. The film debuted digitally on March 2020 and shipped on DVD and Blu-ray in May 2020. And the Box Office Mojo website lists the film with a $128 million U.S. gross, overtaking Pokemon Detective Pikachu as the number one film in the United States based on a game. So, congratulations to Sonic the Hedgehog. And I actually watched Sonic the Hedgehog, which was on Amazon Prime, and it's actually not too bad. Like, I know people have an aversion to live-action adaptations of a lot of things, anything that's like anime or gaming related. But yeah, it's actually not that bad. And of course, the biggest thing I know was the Sonic's appearance in the game, considering he was, not quite what everyone expected. It was like someone just... I'm trying not to be mean, but you know how that went. So I'm pretty sure if you're familiar with Sonic the Hedgehog, you know how the fandom is. And of course, I think this one, I will say, I think they made the right decision on fixing Sonic the way they did, because he actually looks like Sonic and not like whatever that was prior to the redesign. But yeah, I'm sure I'm going to have more information on Sonic the Hedgehog in future episodes, so stay tuned for that. And again, this is a short episode, so I am going to go ahead and stop it here. And I guess one thing I do want to say is that since vaccine is readily available here in the US, that things are going to go back to normal. And some cons that happened between when the episode was supposed to be released up until, like, I guess early June, have been called off. Well, with the exception of a handful of smaller cons are still happening. But again, we'll talk about that in a future episode. But anyway, thank you for listening to this episode attempt. Like I said, it's been at least about a few months in the making, but I just wanted to get it out there. This is let everyone else say, hey, I'm still here. I had this plan. I'm not gonna, backtrack on it. So I hope you stick around. Again, thank you for your patience. And again, if you are listening, rather curious on listening to more of what I have to offer, be sure to follow me on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Centaku Media, and follow and make sure notifications are turned on for when I go live. And also the podcast from moving forward, we will go back to our old release schedule on every Wednesday. So every other Wednesday. So when this episode's released, it's expected 2 weeks from this release date. So I said no Saturday, because apparently that didn't work out for me, because I was originally changed it to every Saturday, but apparently the original schedule worked out for me. So as they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So again, my name is, you can call me Sanjo-chan, but until next time, so long.